Okay, let's go ahead and let's solve our fifth and final test. First question says, the price P in dollars and the quantity X sold of a certain product obey the demand equation. And this is the equation that we were given, right? This one we have over here. So since it says here, the price P means that I need to solve for P on the original equation I was given. So in order for me to solve for P, I need to move everything else to the other side. So you first subtract 1,500 from both sides, and then you're gonna divide both sides by -10. That's it. With that being said, this is what you will end up with. X minus 1,500 divided by 10 equals P. That's it. That's everything for the first part. Now, part A, it says express the revenue R as a function of X. That means that you should know by now this formula. This is a formula that we just covered in class. R equals X times P. We don't know R yet, and we don't know X, but we definitely know P because we just solved for P a few seconds ago. So you're gonna have to rewrite it since it says here R as a function of X. You're gonna rewrite this formula on these terms. R sub X equals X times P. But since I already know P, I just can use this. I can use the numbers that I have here. However, I don't want to use it this way because it looks more complicated. So I will rewrite this expression into this form here. If you want to know how to go from here to here, all you have to do is set -1/10x minus 1,500 divided by 10 by -10, right? Since you have two negatives here, and that equals P. So there's nothing you can do here with the first part, so just work with the second one. -1,500 divided by -10, that equals plus 150. So we just rewrote this expression into this form, which is way more simpler. So definitely go ahead and do it that way. So going back, R sub X equals X times P, and this times P equals this expression that I have over here. Your next step will be distribute X into all these two terms. So X times -110x plus X times 150. This is what you will end up with. R sub X equals -110x squared plus 150x. That's it. That's how you express the revenue R as a function of X. That's it. Now, for part B, it says, what is the revenue if 100 units are sold? If 100 units are sold, you need to find a revenue. So, since you see this word revenue and they give you a certain amount of units that have been sold, that means that you're going to use that formula that you found here, which is the revenue formula for this specific problem that we are solving now. And every time you have an X value, like here, here, and here, every time you have an X value, you're gonna substitute that X by 100. So R sub 100 equals -110 times 100 squared plus 150 times X. You see it? Since it says 100 here, and you want to find the revenue when certain amount of units are sold, just take that number they are giving to you and plot it, use it every time you have an X. By doing that, just go ahead, do your math, and you will see that the final result equals R sub 100 equal 14,000. And by the way, don't forget to write down the dollar sign, because if you don't do it, he might take a few points off. Since you're talking about money, remember you should always keep the dollar sign up front. That's it for part B. Let's move on into part C. It says, what quantity X maximize the revenue? Okay, so since it says what quantity of X, that means you need to find which is the highest amount of units that you can sell, so that you can have you can make the maximum revenue out of it. In order for you to get that number, all you have to do is use this formula. The X vertex of your equation. It goes like this: x sub v equals negative v over 2a. I'm very sure that you already are familiar with this formula because it's very important and we have used it a few times. So you should be familiar with this formula, and if not, just memorize it. X sub v equals negative v over 2a. Now, how do we find the numbers here? Again, we have to go back over here to the original equation that we just found, and then we said that negative v, it's gonna be this number, the number I have in front of the x. So it's gonna be this time 150, and then negative turns to be negative 150. Then 2, and then my a value, which going back, my a value is this one, negative 110. That's it. So you just go ahead, you solve it, and you will see that x sub v equals 750. That means the number that I'm looking for is 750. If I get to sell 750 units, I will maximize my revenue. For the part D, what is the maximum revenue? The maximum revenue means that if I can sell all the units, all the pieces, all the things that I'm selling, if I can sell them, which is gonna be the maximum amount of money that I'm making out of that sale. Again, we already found that this is gonna be the number of units that will maximize my revenue. So if I wanna find now the maximum revenue, all you have to do is, again, go back, the same formula, and this time, every time you have an x value, like here, every time you have an x here, here, and here, we are just gonna use the value that maximize my revenue. So substitute x by 750 every time you have an x. You go ahead, you do your math, and you will see that the math takes you to $56,250. And now for the final part E, it says find how many units must be sold in order to make at least $8,640 in revenue. Again, all you have to do is go back at the formula you just found here, go back at the same formula, and now you have to rewrite it, but it says it's gonna be equals to, instead of this number that you just found here, this time it's gonna be equals to the number they are given to you, the one that you were given. So the easiest way around when you write it this way will be to complete the square using the quadratic formula. Believe me, that will be the easiest way. So make sure that you know this formula: negative v plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, and everything will be divided by 2a. So make sure that you know that formula. If you're not familiar with, make sure you know it, because it is important. So again, now that you have this expression here, in order for you to complete the square, that means that you need to move this number to the other side. So you subtract this number from both sides, and then you have a number here. I mean, you have a fraction in front of the x squared, so you know you cannot have a number here if you want to use the completing the square. So just go ahead and divide both, actually multiply both sides by negative 10, so that you can get rid of this fraction that you have in the middle, I mean up front here, so that you can get rid of it, and then just end up with something nice and easy like this, which, by the way, I forgot here, equals to 0. Yeah. So that's it. Once you have it this way, all you have to do is use the quadratic formula. You will see that you will end up with two different values. That means one, it's for x. X would be 1,440, and then x equals 60. So what that means is that if you sell between this number and this number of units, you're actually making at least $8,640 in revenue.